Well, hello, my friends. It's Sean Petit, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Look at this fun. Oh my gosh, we're going to have so much fun today. Here are the supplies that we're using. All right, so I'm just showing you the papers. The papers are fantastic that I use for today's. I don't use absolutely every single one of them, but I use a lot. And this is mostly the new collage pack that's in the shop, and it will be on sale this week. So I'm starting out with just regular cheap copy paper and my acrylic inks. And I wanted to get this kind of dyed look on my papers for this project. I knew what I wanted to do, and so I wanted to get some varying colors. Well, this just was a big science experiment, and just wait till you see where it goes. So I'm just wetting my papers down and adding my inks to my paper and just spraying some water on there and just getting some things kind of moving around. And then I'm like, I really want it to kind of look like the waves and have some movement. So I start playing in it, and that's where it all, play happens, right? And I just love that. So I'm using Liquitex acrylic inks, and this is the muted series. These colors are the muted series. Oh my goodness, I talk more about it at the end because I have a little fan moment where I'm just like, oh. But so I'm just playing here and really loading that up. I throw down a little bit of alcohol. And once I get that all loaded up, I just pick it up and move it to my parchment paper so it can dry. And I've got this mess underneath. Look, I'm pointing at it and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, the ideas and the things that were happening. I was getting excited and giddy at this point, thinking, oh my goodness, what have I just discovered? Maybe you guys have done this already, but I've never just like put my water and acrylic inks down onto my tabletop basically and just pull prints from it. But oh my gosh. So my objective is to get varying colorways of this kind of blue for the sky and then teal for the water. And so you'll see me do some real dark color, and then here I'm adding a lot of white so I can get it really light because I want that variation for my torn papers for the piece. And I'm just like, I'm a kid right now, just playing and just having fun. And when these dry, oh my gosh, you're gonna see, they're just so pretty. It just makes me so happy. It's just so good. So I'm just getting my different colorways here, and now I'm going to go for some of the teal. And so I mix some of that muted turquoise and some muted green together. Oh, it's beautiful. You can see that blue kind of in there, or that turquoise in there. Oh, it's so yummy good. And I'm dipping real quick on these ones because I want to see the difference. And the color variations and everything are just so lovely. And so now I'm adding some white so I can get some lighter colors again, because of that I need those lights and darks to really contrast and really create interest in the piece. But look at this color. It's just fantastic. So then as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, I really would like to have a little bit of like grungy, yummy goodness on there, some aging. So I threw down a little sepia and just put my whole hand in there. Just, get it all in there. And look at this. Look at this wonderful, grungy goodness. And just like those random lines on the page, then I just started grabbing all the papers and just sticking it in this mess of kind of teal and sepia, and I'm staring at them thinking, I've just hit the jackpot. I'm just so happy with how it all looks. And so I'm just adding a little bit more sepia, and I'm going to continue to kind of add some of that to the papers, and just look at that. That's just fantastic. This is a vintage wallpaper that I have, and just dipping that in the sepia is so good. And the reason I want this is because I want interest in the papers that I'm going to be putting down. So this is one of the pages from the collage pack, and I've taken that sepia, watered it down, and put it in a spray bottle. Oh my goodness. Yes. So this is just me play. This is just play, play, play. Every little step, I'm like, oh, yes, I like this. Let's try that again. Let's do this some more. It just, all of it made me happy. And I think I liked the best when I sprayed onto the stencil and then took what was left over and pushed it down onto the page. That was my favorite. The imprints of it were so unpredictable. And so I'm like, well, heck, let's just do that. This is the process of exploration and learning and growing and not being afraid to try something new. So good. So now I grab another one of my stencils and I'm like, I need just a few bits of pattern, some of that blue pattern. So I thought, well, I'll just take my brush and stencil on some of that color and see what I get. Yes. I wanted some a little bit darker, so I just decided to just go for it and make it all messy. And so good. It's just so good. The imprint of this is fantastic. Then I knew that I wanted some water, some writing on there, but I needed it to be just some areas to be a little bit lighter. And so I'm just adding a little bit of white ink to that paper to kind of mute it down. And those will end up in the piece too. But I just needed that kind of light. So look at these. Does this just not make your heart happy? The pages, how they dried, all crinkly and crunchy and tea-dyed looking, and just, oh my goodness, the happiness abounds. All right, so I've got a 12 by 12 MDF board that has been gessoed, and this is a brand new stencil that is a 12 by 12. I made it especially for this project, and it is available in the shop and will be on sale this week. But I'm just now going to start this process, and I'm going to speed this up just a little bit more, I think, to help you see all the process, or most of it. But I'm putting down my papers and I'm tearing them into random bits. But what I want you to notice is that I'm making sure that each strip is different in colorway or pattern or something like that, so that they don't all blend together. Because I could just put a whole page down, but I want that texture and I want that variation. And you can see how I've got light and then a dark piece and then a light piece and a dark piece to help add interest, to create kind of some depth and some dimension. And so I'm just going to continue to layer my papers in these strips back and forth, creating the lights and the darks and different things like that. I'm bringing in some of that pattern. Oh, I love it. It's happiness. And the texture on this piece is just fantastic. I know I start going into like a high voice when I get super excited. So I apologize for that, but it just makes me happy. So you can see the variation that has happened in the top there as I've laid my papers down. And now I'm just going to come back in. I'm trying to keep an eye on where the boat is going to be. But I'm just going to end up laying some of the interesting papers in there to add some, kind of a look that looks like clouds and that kind of thing. And now I'm doing the water. And I'm doing bigger pieces for the water because I positively love this paper. This paper just has all the feels, all the grunge, all the goodness. I'm putting that dark kind of brownish down towards the bottom so it looks like it's down below the water, or the water's deep and dark in those areas. And I'm working my way up to lighter colors towards the horizon. I'm using really random, scraggly bits of paper with white edges to represent some of the waves that are crashing. And again, I'm trying to get a little bit of variation between lights and darks, but not as much as the sky. But oh my gosh, it's so good. So now I am going to get my boat ready to put down. And I've just taken some archival ink and put my sails over the postcards that are part of that collage pack to give me a trace of the sails. And I'll cut those out. And then I've taken this wonderful book page. Look at that book page. Oh my gosh, it is fantastic. And so I just stenciled that out. And now I'm stenciling the actual image onto the piece so that I can know where to put everything. It looks pretty cool just like that. So I've got all my pieces cut out and I'm just putting them down with my matte gel. And I cut out a stamp from one of the envelopes for the flag. And now I'm just going to come back in and add all the interesting bits, all the interesting parts where I might need some highlights or some lowlights or some interest or anything like that. I'm going to start adding that back in. And I just had so much fun. This was just like a good for the soul kind of piece where I just played. And you can see how I'm using some of that lighter wallpaper for the waves up against the boat. And I'm making sure not to cut anything. I want it all to be torn and rough and rugged because I think it really adds to the character and to the interest. All of these papers, oh my gosh. Every time I would tear something out, I was just like, oh my goodness, I love it. So now that I've got all of my fun papers down, I brought out my pan pastels, and I brought out every single one that I had because I wasn't sure exactly what I needed. But I knew I wanted to add some more. It needed more depth. It needed some dimension. And I didn't want to do it with my charcoal pencil. I wanted to do something a little bit different and kind of just really add to the color of the piece and not take too much from it. And so that's what I'm doing here. So I'm taking colors and kind of maybe softening some of those edges of the paper. I'm going to mix them with some white pastel and some black pastel sticks, and then come back in with my soft pastel and kind of blend through them. Just adding touches of color here and there. And I'm using a light blue and then a darker teal. And then this one is kind of a dark teal as well. It was really dark and I wasn't sure. I'm like, is this really the color I think it is? But it was. And just really adding that emotion in the background, that kind of setting horizon area, sunset horizon area. Adding some of the depth down below in the waters, that darker color that would be like under the waves and that kind of thing. Just adding all of that shading and bits to really bring this to life, to add contrast and interest. So now I'm adding a little bit of purple because when I think about the sun setting or even just the horizon, even the sun's not setting, you kind of get that little bit of purple haze in there. And so I'm adding a little bit of purple to that and just really bringing this to life. I'll add some purple kind of all the way around and then kind of blend that in a little bit more with some umber and some black. So I'll continue to add my shading and some dimension with all of my pastels. With a charcoal pencil, I'll add some shading around my sails and my boat to add just a tiny bit more dimension. I will also add some, you can see I'm adding that yellow. It's so pretty. I just love, pan pastels are so fun to work with. All the supplies are going to be listed on the blog, and the link to the blog is down below in the YouTube description box. I'm using my white to really add the fine details, And I hope you stick around for the conversation at the end. It's a good one about the quote and the meaning behind this piece. So good. All the stencils will be on sale that I used in this project this week. So I'm just going to shade a little bit here. And I hope if you enjoyed today's project that you subscribe and like and share and all those wonderful things. I added these birds because I knew I needed some black in there. And pastels are a great way to do that without, you know, being permanent. Once I got them down, I realized I needed a little bit more black, and I needed a little bit more black all the way around the piece to really kind of balance it out. White and black are great neutralizers. I sprayed it heavily with my fixative so that nothing moved because I've got a lot of pastels going on. And then I will put my quote down and my word down that I printed on tissue paper, and that's about it. I add a little bit more black with some paint, and that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me today, and stick around for the conversation, and I will see you next week. Well, hello, my friends, and happy Sunday to you. I'm just finishing this up. I'm adding just a little bit of shading to my birds here. I needed a little bit of black on here just to kind of jazz this up a little bit and to add that contrast, which is so needed. But no more fussing. I'm going to let it be. All right, so this week, by the time you see this, if you are on Instagram, I was part of a group of artists that came together for something called Pass the Brush. It's similar to Pass the Mic that was happening on Instagram, and it's where we came together with our black artist friends, and we passed our brush and let them take over our Instagram feed. And the purpose of it is to come together, to share our stories, to share in each other's lives, and to really share the voices of our friends of color, and let you, when you might not necessarily see their creativity and their talent, this is just a good opportunity to come together and uplift others, and our friends of color, to uplift them and say, you are seen and you are heard and we love you. And so that happened this week. So if you missed it, you can head over to Instagram and check out my Instagram feed at artgirl38. And or there's a hashtag #PassTheBrushArt, and you can check out all of the wonderful artists, and many of them, including myself, we did live, or will be doing live, like play dates. And so I was paired with Mixe, and I'm pretty sure most of you probably know her. She is wonderful. It was the perfect match. She's just the kindest, gentlest person, and just, oh my gosh. And I have been a fan of her work for a very long time. So it was just a match made in heaven. It really was. And so we will create together. We will have discussions. She will share about herself on my Instagram account. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that in case you missed it. Stencils that I use today, I got to talk about this stencil. So I use this large one. These are brand new, and there's another one. Let me find it. So I have a Boats and Birds stencil and another boat stencil. Where is it? Oh, for the love! Here it is. Okay. So I have another stencil, two other stencils that have boats that are these boats here. And they're smaller so that you can work on smaller projects or tags or whatever. And I wanted a larger one. And so I created this extra large one. This is a 12 by 12. And then I also created this one, which is an 8 by 10, which is just a little bit smaller. So you've got good sizes of boats and fun ways to use them. I just love this piece. Oh my gosh. This just makes me happy. So you got to see just the creative process happening as I created this piece. And all of these papers, oh my gosh, you guys, this was just the funnest thing ever. And it all just kind of, like, when I started, I was putting it on the paper, and then I had this mess underneath, and then I just was like, oh, and I started dipping into the ink. Oh, so good. I used the collage pack, the brand new collage pack that was out last week. That will remain on sale this week for you if you want to grab it. These wonderful, wonderful vintage papers that I dipped in acrylic ink and stenciled on, and all the stencils that I used today will be on sale, so you can grab those. And then, oh yeah, I use these new I have purchased a few new inks, and this is Liquitex acrylic ink, and this is the Muted series. Oh my gosh. Muted violet, muted pink, muted turquoise. Oh my goodness. It's just all so good. So all of those supplies will be listed on the blog, and the link to the blog, of course, is down below in the YouTube description box. So to this piece, I think that's everything. Yeah. Okay. So the quote on here says, "The real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes." And so sometimes I think on our journeys to wherever we're going, whatever we're searching for, whatever we're striving for, whatever we're doing to learn, grow, change, sometimes I think we think that if we accomplish this, then we'll be moving towards our goal. And sometimes I really, and I know for me, this is where I am right now, that suddenly where I thought I was going and what I was discovering is suddenly changing. And I'm seeing things with new eyes. And that could be due to a whole lot of things. You know, our world is crazy right now, and we're having to deal with so many different things all at once. And it's really taken me inward to really contemplate and think about, okay, what really is important? And it's taken me to prayer to say, Lord, help me have new eyes to see how I can help others, how I can help my family, how we can come together in a pandemic and love each other and still be far apart. All these different things that maybe we need to ask ourselves, how can I see what I'm doing or striving for with new eyes, with new eyes, with eyes of love, with eyes of wisdom, with eyes of compassion. I don't know what the word is for you, but maybe whatever you're working towards or trying to do, maybe, just maybe, in the journey, in the voyage, in the discovering, we need to see things with new eyes, with eyes of love. And I have gone over and over this quote and so many others this week, and eyes of love kept coming back. In love, there is no fear. Oh my gosh, I'm a very fearful person in general. And if I have a pure, loving heart, I can see things differently. It changes me. It's clearer. Not at the start. of this process or journey or discovery that I've been on. It felt very foggy, and I think it still does in some sense, because everything feels up in the air right now. Everything feels uncertain. And even in that uncertainty, that's my journey. That's the journey we're on. And I'm asking, Lord, help me see with new eyes. Give me new eyes, eyes of love, to see it all. And maybe to adjust my sails a little bit and figure out, what the journey might hold for me now and how I might see it differently. All right, loves, that was my journey in this piece. I don't know if it will resonate with you or if you needed to hear that, but I know usually whenever I have something that I'm working through or that is rolling around in my head, it always seems to touch at least one person, and really that's all I need. Anyway. All right, loves, I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, and I hope that it's restful and peaceful, and that maybe whatever journey you're on, that you will have new eyes to see things in a new and positive and loving way. Maybe you'll have new eyes to see a new direction or new wisdom. Whatever that is, new eyes to see. Oh, Lord, please, I ask that. All right, loves, have a wonderful Sunday, and always, always know that you are loved.